And good morning. It's 7:04 on this Friday, April 21st. It's time to head to Studio B for Coleman and Company.
I finished it yesterday. Coleman and Company. Oh, good morning. Hey, are we early this morning? I'm looking at my clock. It says 1.5 after. I wasn't expecting this.
Everything's played.
Well, okay. Well, what time you got?
I have 7:02.
All right. Well, you caught me off guard, but it's a Friday. That's okay. Coleman and Company, glad to have you with us, and we're, of course, happy to be on the air each Friday for Wilson Bank and Trust. We have Emily Prey with us this morning, marketing specialist, who's here to do the commercial. Tell us all about Wilson Bank and Trust. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm fine. It caught me a little off guard. I was telling you that I know everybody wants to hear this. Had a little surgery on my ear last Thursday, and because of the after effects of that, I can't wear my hearing aid in my right ear.
Right.
So you're going to have to speak up a little bit.
I can do
'cause
that.
You're to my right this morning.
That's okay.
But anyway, we're glad to have you, and you told me here off the air, I believe you've been with the bank about 3 years.
Yes, sir.
Came here from Chattanooga.
Yes, sir. I sure did.
Well, I hope you and your husband, your family, is enjoying Lebanon and Wilson County.
We love it. We could not be happier.
Yeah. What in particular do you want to talk about, or do you want to tell us maybe a little bit about what you do as marketing specialist?
Sure. So I mainly focus on Wilson Bank and Trust financial literacy efforts. April is Financial Literacy Month, so it's a good time to be here. We have several avenues of being involved in the communities that we serve through financial literacy. And for those who don't know, financial literacy is the ability to understand and effectively use financial skills such as investing, managing your personal finance, budgeting tools, things of that nature. Wilson Bank and Trust always wants to position ourselves to be a resource in the community that we serve. So we offer financial literacy through our school banking program, which is in elementary schools across Tennessee. We served 63 schools this year, and we will serve the same 63 schools next school year. And we're currently in conversation with about 3 to 5 additional schools. So
You said
excited.
63. We don't have that many in Wilson County
sir.
yet. So you're spread over the area with your school banking.
Yes, sir. We try to be in as many elementary schools as possible in all of the communities.
Well, I don't know how much attention you have paid to this, but we've talked about it for several years here from time to time. And it seems to me that what the bank has done here is just, it's an elementary thing in several ways of looking at it, but to teach children from the very beginning, even if their parents are not, if their peers are saving, they have a tendency to do that and to learn from that.
I think so. And I think it's especially important today. You know, we've become used to electronic banking, but there is a very important avenue of banking that is in person. So it's important for us to teach these children how to confidently conduct those in-person transactions as well.
Yeah. Well, that's just one of a number of things you're involved with, I guess.
Yes, sir. We do offer the school banking program, which is specific to elementary schools, as you mentioned. But we also have opportunities and options for adults and high school students. We have a platform right on our website that's called Smart Money, and it offers short modules, is what we call them. It's just a short walkthrough, click-through, interactive, engaging presentation for you to learn more about financial literacy tools. So if you're wanting to brush up on how do I budget, what makes the most sense when looking for a checking account or a savings account, if you want to start looking into smart ways to invest your money, we have options through that resource that you can kind of brush up on that knowledge and learn a little more. And you can visit that anytime by visiting wilsonbank.com/smartmoney.
Well, you're doing a lot of things, and I can tell that being a marketing specialist covers a wide range of area here.
We do, yes.
Anything else in particular you want to mention this morning?
I would just like to thank you guys for having us. We love being here and getting to speak to Wilson County. But we just encourage anyone to visit our website, check out the dates for School Bank. If you are a parent interested in getting your child enrolled, you can find information about how to do that there. We will also send information to the schools in August, and we are always available to answer questions regarding School Bank. We also would love for anyone to take the opportunity, especially this month, to visit Smart Money and brush up on your financial literacy skills.
All right, I got one question to ask
Yes,
you.
sir.
You've gone to some of the schools yourself,
Yes.
haven't you, as the
Yes.
bank's representative, and you probably get some pretty elementary questions
Sure.
that are asked. They are learning,
Sure.
but I'll bet you they are very enthusiastic.
Yes, the children light up. And it's my favorite thing when I hear the stories from our school bank reps. I can't be at all 63 schools, so we do have others who conduct the program regularly. But I love it when I hear about the student who saved all of their birthday money and brought it in, or they go and ask, how much money do I have in my account? I think I'm ready to buy something big. So it's really sweet. And the kids get on to their parents. They say, well, I have a savings account. Do you have a savings account? We love it.
So much, honestly, I really think there's so much to be gained from this.
I hope so.
Yeah. Well, certainly good to have you with us today here,
Thank
Emily.
you.
And we wish you well as you continue to be a marketing specialist.
Thank you so much. Good to be here.
All right. Wilson Bank and Trust, member FDIC, equal housing lender. They're still here, still independent, still committed to you. Excellence in banking since 1987. Thank you so much. Well, it is about a clock up here, 8 minutes after 7 o'clock here on a Friday morning. And on Friday morning at this time, we all know, during the legislative session at least, it's time for our Friday Senate report with Senator Mark Pody.
Good morning, Coleman. What a great day to be alive.
It is great to see you this morning. We arrived here at the same time,
We did, Coleman.
which is unusual. You're usually here first.
I am. I look forward to getting on this show with you, and it's always exciting for me to say, Barbara, I'm going to be on Coleman this morning, so I look forward to it.
Well, thank you so much. We appreciate that. The Senate, the legislature is about to wind down. Maybe today it might be in the wee hours of the evening or early in the morning.
Yes. So the goal is to be out today. We're prepared to go, into tomorrow if we have to. The Senate is done. I mean, we passed the budget and everything we've done. We don't really have any bills to debate anymore. We're just waiting on everything to come over from the House. So sometimes a bill will pass in the Senate in one way, but a little bit different in the House. So then we got to just reconcile those bills back and forth. I believe the House probably has about 40 bills left that they're debating.
There's just 33 of you, only 33 to differ, 99 can possibly differ in the House, which maybe we'll let that be the excuse for them taking longer.
Yes, and I've been in the House, and they have more committees, but it is a more robust debate in the House. There's a lot more things that go on. When you have 99 opinions that want to be expressed, it does take longer. So I did have to tell you that it was much harder in the House to get something passed than it is in the Senate. The Senate, we're a lot more congenial, and a third of us is on every committee. So when something goes through, a lot of us have already heard it, where in the House, sometimes when you are hearing a bill, perhaps only 20% of the people have heard the bill already.
Okay, kind of summarize here from what the Senate has done and where you stand. What have you done? You've passed. What have you not that maybe some people have really been pushing for?
All right, so we have we've really passed strong school safety.
Okay.
And such. There's a lot of issues on what's going on with what they're going to call the red flag law. And that is when somebody should take a gun away from somebody else. And that is a huge, huge issue. The governor's been pushing on that now for the last, and he's been on TV saying, hey, the legislature, we want you to do this. So he's got his idea what a red flag law looks like. And he said if we don't do it, he's going to try and call us back into session in just a couple of weeks. In fact, he wants to call us back in the middle of May, probably May 16th, for a special session. Now, this governor's called a lot of special sessions in here, and I don't think this is going to be any different. He's going to call us in to say, we want to look at red flag laws. Now, he's going to tell us, he's going to say, let's rename it and call it something different so it's not a red flag law, and we're going to rename it and see if he can pass it that way. It's so unusual when we just put a new name or new title on something that it's okay. Because I'm going to tell you, we got something called choice lanes right now, and that's passed, and that could be a good thing. But it just means that if you go on that road, you got to pay money to go on that road. Well, the news came out when he signed that bill, and it said Governor Lee signed the toll roads. So. So we watched that on TV. Even the news media was saying he signed the toll roads, even though we're going to call it something different. If you pay to go on that road, it's a toll. So here he wants to just rename the red flag law into something different and perhaps get it passed that way.
Well, in somebody's defense here, there's a difference between having to and allowed to. Which I agree, it's still a toll road, but it's not a mandatory thing.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
So when I was in Chicago, you could literally go on their toll roads, or you could take the street right next to it. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's a street that ran right along, and I could always drive by that street if I wanted to, and it was totally free. Or I could get on toll road and pay for that. If I was on that road, I was paying a toll. But there's a street right next to it that runs right along with it. That's a free lane as well. It takes longer to go on that road, on the free ones, than it did on the toll road. And you just make that choice.
All right. What about for lack of a better term, gun control legislation? There's been demonstrations. There's been people wanting to do things that some of you, I feel sure, question whether they're even constitutional or not regarding the Second Amendment. But have we got anything really there that's passed the Senate?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing along that line. What the Senate has done is after the shooting, the Covenant shooting, and by the way, Coleman, I met with one of the parents. They were one of the little girls that was shot. And I met with them and talked to them for about an hour. And to hear their story, how heart-wrenching it was to say, we dropped off our little girl. And we had no idea, and when we get this call, and here we are. And they were both so much in tears, and it's been over 3 weeks, and the mother, her name was Katie, she just said, it's just so much grief on there. And she was saying, I'm not here to tell people to take their guns away. That's not what I want. But is there something we can do that's reasonable? What steps can we do? And I think there are some things that we can do that are reasonable to move forward. And so we talked, and we prayed. And I assured her, I said, you know what? We want to make sure that this kind of shooting doesn't happen again, but can we look at the big picture and say, is it the gun that did it, or was it that individual that was on certain types of medication? And if we're looking at the people that have done this, they almost all have been on, over 90-some% have been on certain types of medication that we can identify. And this medication, it literally says, if you take this, you will have suicidal and homicidal tendencies. I mean, it's on the medication when they're taking it. Maybe we need to be looking at this a little bit different. And so I said, what we'd like to do is come back, reset. Let's look at the entire picture of how we can make sure that the people that are the most dangerous people, we can make sure that they're not in a possession of a firearm. And she was, she said, can we do it right now? And I said, it's going to take some time to walk through and see this is right. We can't do it just because there's a lot of people yelling and screaming. We got to do it in a very thoughtful way of what makes sense. And so I think that next year when we come in, we want to really look at a different picture than just saying, how do we take guns away, but how do we fix this problem so it doesn't continue to happen?
Senator Mark Pody is with us, our Friday Senate Report. We take a break right here on Coleman and Company, FM 98.9.
And it's now 7:16. Let's see what's happening on the roadways. Thanks to our friends at Bates Ford. Low price tire guarantee on all tires every day. Up to 30 days after the sale, there'll be any competitor's pricing on the tires they sell. 1673 West Main. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. It's building pretty good now. Trying to get out of Murfreesboro, Rutherford County on 24 out through the Hickory Hollow area going westbound. Traffic's pretty busy right now coming through Mount Juliet on I-40. Just be careful with some radar in Wilson and Smith County this morning. Nash Painting services all of Middle Tennessee. Check out their website this weekend at nashpainting.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Have you ever wondered what the ministry of Jesus was really like? Now, thanks to Angel Studios, you can get a glimpse. The most successful crowd-funded series in history is coming to College Hills. By now, you've heard of or seen snippets of The Chosen, but maybe a busy schedule has kept you from enjoying it without interruption. Sunday afternoon, College Hills will be hosting this outstanding portrayal of the life and ministry of Jesus. There will be no formal worship time or collection. The event is free and open to the whole family. Following the showing, there will be a Q&A led by members of College Hills and other faith communities. Join us for light snacks and beverages at 4:30 p.m. and for the 1-hour showing at 5 p.m. Reignite your passion for the Savior of the world and expand your knowledge of His mission. Once again, that's Sunday afternoon, 5 p.m. at the College Hills Church of Christ on Leeville Pike in Lebanon, Tennessee. Come and see for yourself. Visit collegehills.org for more information.
Coleman and Company, our Friday Senate Report. Senator Mark Pody is with us. I'm not sure you really answered my question altogether there, but we've talked about some things we haven't done, some things we have done. But is there anything really contingent on the House vote today?
No.
Yeah, I mean, we're pretty sure how it's all going to come out in the end here today.
Yes, right now it seems that if they're debating anything, there's a lot of contention in the House, and they're fighting over minor, silly things that used to pass that would have taken 5 minutes to pass. It can take 20, 30 minutes, so everybody can have a say on there and get their opinion heard and so forth. And it's more of a show down there rather than trying to do any work. And unfortunately, it's causing the state of Tennessee to have to delay some of the good things that we want to do. I want to put it this way, Coleman, let's just say the work that we did. We have literally built one of the best houses if I was a contractor, I built one of the absolute best houses. It's brand new, and we should be so happy with what we did. And a couple people come along and spray paint the front of the house. And people drive by and say, oh, look at that house is horrible because of the spray paint. That's exactly what's happened. You know, I can be critical of the Tennessee, our budget. And I'm very much one to say, I'd like to do this with the budget or that with the budget. We got one of the best budgets we've done in Tennessee. We've passed some of the best laws we've done in Tennessee. And that's coming from a very conservative person. And none of that is what we can really get out there. What we're talking about is the spray paint on the front of the house, and it's like amazing because it's going on. And it's not just Democrats, it's Republicans as well. There was another person expelled. They were a Republican, and there was sexual allegations against him. As soon as the facts came out, he immediately resigned yesterday. But that took all the good stuff of what we passed in the budget away from the news media. I mean, it was all about that. Something else we did was last week, and I actually had the General Counsel of Israel come, and her name was Anat. And so she came in, and we honored her at the Capitol. Now, this is kind of cool. I mean, this was us that we had her come and say that you're in, as a nation, 75 years. And so we're doing this at the Capitol, and we're honoring the relationship between Tennessee and Israel, which is really a big event. And she said, in Israel, they're all watching what we're doing in Tennessee. In Tennessee, we didn't even get any news media or anything because it's all focused on the antics that's going on in the House. But just standing up to say that, Israel, we're recognizing and standing with you as Tennesseans, and we want that public, and I'm going to tell you, in Genesis, it talks about Genesis 12, I'm going to curse those that curse you, and I'm going to bless those that bless you. And we want to be one of the ones that bless Israel. So a lot of good things like that are being pushed aside and not even being talked about. I'm going to tell you something that did pass. The money that we're putting in education for our teachers, Coleman, they're going to be starting at $50,000 a year. And if we look at this, it's going to take a couple years to ramp it up, but that's going to put them at one of the top in the nation for their base pay. We'll be in the top, like 20% of all teachers in the nation. We're going to be paying one of the top wages, where Tennessee, it used to be, we're one of the lowest ones,
Right.
but we're putting more money. But you know what? That's not kind of getting out there a little bit. That's just great news to say, hey, teachers, we really, really appreciate you. Here's some of the things that we're doing for you. We're trying to stand up and say, we appreciate the hard work that you're doing in education. We're watching some of the things that are going in to say, we're looking at our education, and our kids are learning, and we're getting over the COVID loss. We're doing stuff in Tennessee that I think is going to be making a huge difference in the future of Tennessee. And I got to tell you, I told you I could talk 2 hours on the budget, and I can't be as critical as I normally am, because it is much, much better of a budget. Just to tell you, last year our budget was $56.2 billion. And I said, Coleman, our budget's growing this fast and all this, and we got to be cutting it and so forth. And this year, we were able to keep that same budget number, $56.2 billion. It didn't go up at all. So we had no growth, and we have given our taxpayers back more money than we ever had. We're doing a 3-month sales tax holiday on food. Sometimes we would do a weekend or a week or what. We're doing 3 months. That's hundreds of millions of dollars that we're giving back. We're making one of the largest tax cuts to our businesses in Tennessee. Because in Tennessee, we might be a low tax state, but we're actually a high tax state for businesses. And we're finally trying to give our businesses, our local businesses, a break. And that's going to help so many of our businesses here in Tennessee, where we're saying, guys, you've been carrying this weight for Tennessee for so long, we're giving it back. There's so many tax cuts that we have given. So we're giving $3.3 billion of extra money into our roads and such, in our infrastructure. So I'm finally saying, hey, Coleman, we've actually spending the money the way that I'd be spending the money. We're putting money into our rainy day fund. It is the highest it's ever been. We're back at the 8% of where we needed to be. We've got so many good things that we've done. And that's the news I want to get out is, hey guys, we're ending today, but we've got to be ending on a high note. We're just kind of watching minor antics that go on that seems to be happening.
It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate the way, and I guess we could say in a way we're part of it here, but the way the news media deals with things and the priority that they give to stories. Some of the stuff that I've seen on television ought to be in the trash can, in my opinion.
And you're right. You're right. But you know what? I can't say it's Republicans or Democrats, because they both have done the same thing. And, we had some issues in the Senate earlier this year with our speaker, and now it's all just seems to be focused on the House right now. So, if we look at the outside of what's happened, it's been an unusual year. But if we look at really the hard work that we've done, the bills that we have passed, the discussions that we have been having, where the real work is going on, I'm going to say that this is probably one of the absolute best years that we've had since I've been here. Hard work has gone in. Debts have been paid that we have.
Now, what and most likely, what the governor's wanting here is not going to get passed today. He's going to call this special session. Seems like it's awfully soon. I mean, you're only 2 weeks, and you'll be back in there. That's but that's the way he wants to play it. Okay. What's going to happen then? I mean, is this going to be a long, drawn-out thing?
Nope, I do not think so. I think it's going to be probably a week, and they're going to come in, they're going to take up what he wants. It'll be very quickly decided, and they're either going to have the votes or they won't. In fact, as soon as I'm done here, the lieutenant governor's called me in, so I have an appointment. As soon as I leave here, I'm going to see the lieutenant governor, and he's going to be asking me where I am, what am I looking for, what would I accept or what wouldn't I, and I'm going to be telling him, I'm just going to be saying, Governor, that this is not the right time. If we're going to do something, we want a thoughtful, opportunity for us to see what's going to do best for Tennesseans in the long run to make sure there's due process for everybody and we can still keep our citizens safe, that we can get the guns out of those that are on the certain types of medications in the right way. But I don't think we need to have a rushed system to do it. And if we do a special session, that's it. We're just going to rush. It'll all be done in a week. That's not enough time for me to be thinking through what we need to do.
Where's, I know they have lobbyists on Capitol Hill, lobbyists probably all over. The National Rifle Association, NRA, where are they on all of this? Are their presence very much in Nashville right now?
Nope. I haven't heard anything. I know that they say, hey, the NRA is doing this, and NRA has not even come to my office this year, not at all. The TFA, they've not been coming down to talk to us at all. This is strictly, where we are on people on the Second Amendments, what are we going to do, and where we are. So we haven't heard from the gun lobbyists whatsoever. This is strictly constitutional issues, what we should and shouldn't be doing. And I believe there's enough people in the Senate right now that we want to do something, but we're not going to be pushed into just doing a quick thing, a quick fix. Let's look at the entire picture.
Is the governor himself being pushed here? Public opinion, all of this, the TV news, the whole thing going hard at him?
Yes, they are. And I've been in meetings with him, and I hear the discussions, and I can understand that, they're outside his office, every day, and they're protesting, and they want him to do something. And he's a lame duck governor, okay? I mean, he's not up for a re-election again, so he doesn't have to worry about anything. And so it's easy to give in just to whatever the loudest noise is at this moment, and we want to be very thoughtful in what we're doing and not get in.
Whatever is done here is going to have such far-reaching, it's going to determine the whole future, really.
Yes.
If we don't get this right, and even whatever legislation is passed, there's always a chance it's going to go into court, be challenged, could even go all the way to the Supreme Court.
Yes, and I believe we can come up with something that will be right, that is going to deliver what we're looking for as Tennesseans, and that's to keep our kids safe. We have a way that we can do that. But just jumping in to say that we're going to do it to make it look good in the public and try and get some kudos that way, but it really isn't as effective as we need to, isn't the right way to go about it.
And I think this is what you said, the parent that you talked with, they're wanting something done now.
Yes.
But good legislation so many times doesn't happen overnight. It needs to be thought out.
Yes, and we're going to be looking at this. And so when I was with the parents, and I want to tell you that they're real. I mean, it is very real. There were 3 children that were needlessly shot, their lives were lost. And you had the other ones in there, the parents or the adults that were protecting the kids. Right. And they did everything that they could to protect the kids. But, in that honor, even our judiciary, where we would be talking about, they said, let's stop. So the chairman of judiciary said, this is not the time. We're not going to make an emotional decision. We're going to sit and debate, because we got gun laws right now ready to be debated. And he said, let's do this in a very slow, methodical way so we can get it right. And that's exactly what we're trying to do, at least in the Senate. We want to make sure that what we do, that we can deliver, it's going to be right. And I would rather come and have to face all of my constituents and say, I promise you we're working to get this right for everybody, than to pass something to say we passed, but it's full of holes. And I'm going to be very strong and deliberate in saying we want to do something to protect our kids. And we want to do it in a good, thoughtful, protective way where our constitutional rights are protected, but the protection for our kids are there as well.
Well, we come to the end of our time here. Thanks so much for being with us. We'll see you next Friday, and I wish you...
I got to tell you, I haven't even gotten through my first page yet.
I wish you well in your meetings today. Senator Mark Pody, our Friday Senate Report in Part 1 of Coleman and Company. We've got more, so please keep it here, FM 98.9.
And let's see what's happening on the roadways. Thanks to our friends at Absolute Kubota. They'll help you find the right tool for the job. The Kubota Orange Rental Program makes it easy to rent the right equipment. Stop by Absolute Kubota. Check out the U35 excavator or the SVL 75 compact track loader, 1506 West Main. Now with traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. Traffic's really increasing quite a bit now, right on schedule, coming out of Rutherford County, leaving Murfreesboro on 24 westbound through the Hickory Hollow area towards Nashville. Down through Mount Julia, Wilson County right now. Watch for some radar. We see some heavy traffic developing at times coming down from the north on 65 southbound through White House, through that section of Sumner and Robertson County. Hey, Prince's Hot Chicken is catering. They're online. Check out their menu at princeshotchicken.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
You know, starting to save for your future doesn't have to be difficult. Let Wilson Bank and Trust help tone up your financial goals this year. Our certificates of deposits or CDs can help your money work harder with our competitive rates, earning you more than ever before. WBT checking options allow you to earn rewards you can really use, like a high interest rate or cash back on check card purchases when you meet some e-banking qualifications. Visit your closest Wilson Bank and Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC.
Attention Cumberland University baseball fans, where has the season gone? The Phoenix baseball team will play their final home games. The team is currently in first place in the Mid-South Conference, is one of the best offensive teams in the nation, and senior Cole Turney leads the entire country in home runs and batting average. So if you haven't made it out to a game so far this season, this is your last chance. Come on out to the 6 and cheer these guys on to the championship. All games can be heard on these radio stations or on GoCumberlandAthletics.com. Go Phoenix.
We could see a shower or two by this afternoon, then get ready for much cooler weather this weekend. We're looking for a high of 76 today with mostly cloudy skies. Temperatures fall into the 40s overnight, and we will only be in the 60s for this weekend. This weather forecast is brought to you by Walker Auction and Realty, professional auction and real estate services. Get top dollar for your home, land, or personal property. Log on to MikeWalkerAuctions.com. They know auctions. That's a look at your forecast. I'm number one Ned.
And we welcome you to part 2 of Coleman and Company. It is a Friday, and our friends from Exit Rocky Top C&D team are here this morning. C&D team, Exit Rocky Top Realty. But really, I want to welcome Mike Cox. I could not believe Mike has walked in. He is here and already signed the guest book. Good morning.
Good morning, Coleman.
You came to see me,
Yeah,
and to let everybody know you're still alive and kicking.
Yes, I am, buddy, and I feel better than I ever have.
Now, Mike.
Well, I went through a pretty bad time, but I tell you, I do feel 100% better.
Great. Well, you or Miss Judy One. I know a lot of people know that you've been under the weather and that spent some time in the hospital, but tell us a little bit about what all's happened.
Well, I wound up kind of one morning. I got up and I was just kind of out of it.
Yeah.
You know, I would try to say stuff, really couldn't say it. And I thought, well, am I having a stroke or whatever? So my daughter's son and Judy took me to the hospital. And so after about, 8 days, they finally figured that I had they found and discovered in that a kidney stone. And it was 8 millimeter. It went down in the tube and lodged. And so probably what I'm thinking, and they really didn't want to say for sure, I don't think, but it got kind of infected and kind of went to my brain.
Oh, okay.
So but I feel great. I mean, you know, they took the stone out finally. They had to get some specialists to do it because it was so big and the situation it was in. So,
but you're definitely on the mend.
Oh God, yes. I mean, man, you talk about pain and hurt and everything else. And I was a lot lucky because mine lodged, and it lodged in there where it didn't want to come out.
Oh,
you know. So, but they had to go in and take it out. But that was the bad thing. But other than that, I got released the day before yesterday. So I've been great.
Well, just great to have you with us this morning. Now, you want to add to that, Miss Judy?
Well, I'm just going to let him talk mainly. I just want to tell about a couple listings real quick. In Smithville, we got a house for sale, and it's $229,900, which is a great price. It's got a sunroom and 2 bedrooms and a bath and living room, and it's sitting on a large lot, and it's private. And it's just 1 mile off the Smithville Highway. So you're right out there going right into Smithville for $229,900. Then we've got a new listing we just listed yesterday. It's 1 acre and it's a modular home, 2,200 square feet, and it's $289,900, which is a great price for that. It's just a few miles down Canesville Road there, so you're not very far down Canesville Road. And one other thing I wanted to say, we talked about other day people looking at you're checking your title on your home to make sure nobody has taken out loans against your house and put liens on your house that you don't know about, or either borrowed money in your name for your home address. Well, the Wilson County Deeds, Bev Spickard and Jackie Murphy has got a program, and all you have to do is look up wilsoncountydeeds.com. And on there's a little place that you can mark. You look up your address of your property and you mark fraud alert. You just check that and you have to give them your email. And anytime anybody looks up your deed to your property, you will get an alert on your email that says somebody is looking at your deed. Because that's how they got to start to get to steal your title to your home, is to look at your deed. So you might want to do that. And if you don't know how to do it, call us or see Jackie Murphy. She's wonderful at the Wilson County Deeds office. But they've set that up, and all you got to do is go to that, put in your, and if you have several properties and they're in different names, make sure you put them all the different names, and you just mark fraud alert, and it will alert you every time somebody pulls that deed. Because all they got to do is go to the courthouse and pull the deed, and people do it all the time, and then they start borrowing money off your house, especially homes that are paid for. They're the first ones they go to because, see, since there's no loan on it, the bankers are not involved, so it takes longer for them to get caught. So if your home is paid for, especially, go do that. But even if you're making payments, you need to do that. But I just thought you might want to know that, and if you don't know how to do it, call us and we'll help you.
She is a wealth of information. Mike?
I know.
Well, Jessica,
I'm very fortunate to have a lot of really good real estate agents.
Yeah.
I mean, Doris, Medina, her, they all, they're just top notch. I mean, you're not going to, I don't think they missed a lick while I was in the hospital. She sit in the room. Medina would stay part of the time. Jason stayed part of the time, and I want to thank them for that. But there was real estate going on. It's almost like it was a real estate office.
well, and Diana took a lot of load off of us. Diana Cavender,
Well,
she did.
that's great too. What I am so happy to see you, to know that
Well, I
you're doing
appreciate it.
well now, because we've been concerned. And I just want everybody that's hearing this morning, if you see Mike Cox today, tell him you heard him here on the radio. We're thankful that he's doing so well, and it actually came out here just to let everybody know. I think that's wonderful.
And I do want to thank everybody that checked on me, called, sent cards. I've had
Well, a few of us said a prayer for you.
I had two pastors out of church, Mark Caruth and Darren. They both came either
Pratt.
every day, and my main pastor, Jeff Pratt, came. They called me or checked on me every day, and most of them came every day.
Yeah. Well, you've got a lot of friends.
Yes,
A lot of
I
people
do.
care about you.
Well,
Among us.
I
here.
know.
Okay.
And
We're glad he's alive and kicking.
All right.
And what I was going to tell you too, the deeds thing is free. It doesn't cost anything. Just don't forget to do it.
All right. Well, you can be Medina today with the last word.
Oh yes, let me think.
There
Don't
you-
make a move without us.
All right. Thank y'all
If
so
I mess
much.
that up, I'm
thank
in
you,
trouble.
Coleman.
Mike Cox and Judy Cox, Miss Judy, C&D team, Exit Rocky Top Realty. And we are about 21 minutes before the hour. And this is the Friday that Gail Hibbert comes and spends time with us here on Coleman and Company. And she is right here ready to go this morning. Gail Hibbert is the Director of Marketing and Events for the Farm Bureau Expo Center. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
All right. Really good. Do you know Mike a little bit? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Mike is that whole bunch are a bunch of go-getters. They don't sit around. And Mike is one of them too. Of course, he had to take it easy for a while, hurt him so bad. But to me, just really great to have him here this morning.
Absolutely. Yeah. Medina and Judy have been very good to me and just kind of helped me just because I wasn't on the local scene as much or nearly as long as they have been. So, yes, absolutely. Great family.
Well, it's good to see you this morning, and of course, I know it wasn't the Farm Bureau Expo Center, but last Monday was a pretty big day and a lot of people out there, wasn't there?
There was. Yeah, it's a special time for that building to open. I know I have sent a lot of business that way because I'm so full, so I try to identify things that, I could do if I had the time, if I had the room on the calendar. Mm-hmm. But if I think it's a good fit, I'll send them over to the ag side and just say, you might, I don't know what the schedule is. I'm not managing that, but you might want to check that out.
Well, what is the news you have for us today, or do you have any?
I always have news and can always talk about something. I was thinking about that yesterday. I was like, what do I want to focus on? And I did a county commission report on Monday, mm-hmm. and I explained to them the difference, and I had a couple graphs for them. And if you look at the number of bookings, so the number of events, Wilson County has the largest number of events, but the smallest amount of revenue or square foot rented. And, that's kind of an anomaly. People scratch their head like, well, how's that happen? Well, because they're just smaller events. They're local. That you don't have major national conferences coming out of Wilson County. You might have people that are connected to those things, but you don't have the event planners here in Wilson County. And I said, but conversely, if you look at it, national and state-based events have the least number of actual events, but have the substantial hold on the greatest amount of revenue and the greatest amount of square footage rented, because they are larger events. Mm-hmm. And, that might sound like, to some people, that might sound like, well, that matrix doesn't really sound like that's very positive, because it's, we have 11% of our revenue that comes from Wilson County, but we have, I think it's 47% of the number of events come from Wilson County. So again, just points to the fact that there are smaller events. You want that matrix, because if your biggest amount of revenue is coming from these large events, that means that's more people coming for these large events, which means we're bringing more people in from out of Wilson County. Uh-huh. So we're not recycling money. We're bringing money in, that new money in for us to gain revenue from. So, it's interesting when you sit down, I love numbers. When you sit down, you start looking at numbers and, how does this play, and, how many days is this? And I always look at the bottom line of how much each event brought in. And I was looking at that yesterday in that, okay, this event brought in about $10,000 and this event brought in about $10,000. But how many days were they there? How much work did we have to do for this $10,000 versus this $10,000? And you start breaking it down like that, and you can really make some strong strategic moves in what you book.
Well, are you making strong strategic moves at this time?
I am. We're at a very, very solid point in the expo booking system, in that we have a very strong pipeline of people still calling, still can't help them. And so it kind of gives us, as we look forward, because we only book any event for 3 years at a time. So as I look forward and I see contracts that are going to expire because their 3 years is up, I have to make the decision, do we rebook them, or do I have something that's been kind of nipping at the heels of whatever, and do I want to bring them in, again, this event will bring in this amount, this event will bring in this amount. And you have to compare them, and you have to look at what's best for the expo. So it's not just about numbers of events. It's about the quality of the event. It's about how long they're there. Are they bringing in vendors? How many people are coming? Is it a good interest base for, the surrounding area? It's getting complicated, but we're in a good place. So I'm excited about it because it means we can make choices as opposed to that, anytime anybody functions out of a place of fear, they don't necessarily make the greatest decisions. So if you're panicking, going, I have to make money, you're not evaluating what you're bringing in. So that's my thought for the day.
All right. Okay, with that, we will take our break. This is Coleman and Company, FM 98.9.
And it's now 7:46. Let's see what's happening on the roadways. Thanks to Bates Ford, that regular oil change, $34.95 up to 5 quarts oil tax and disposal, $16.73 West Main. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. Still quite heavy right now, leaving Rutherford County on 24 westbound as you head up through the Hickory Hollow area. Just crowded down 65 as you come through Sumner County, making your way there through Goodlettsville. Watch for some radar out in Dixon County this morning. We had several reports on I-40 around 840. Prince's Hot Chicken, they are catering. They've been around forever. Go by and see them this weekend. 2 locations. That menu, it's online, and you can order online at princeshotchicken.com. I'm Commander Chuck, your on-time traffic.
Are you ready to move on up to your next dream home?
We are full-time real estate professionals with over 42 years of combined experience.
We will get the job done for you to move on up.
Ready for a deluxe apartment in the sky? Remember, don't make a move without us.
Call Judy Cox or Medina Peninsula at Exit Rocky Top Realty, C&D Team, 443-3130.
We're moving on up to the
Gregory Dental Group in Lebanon is a family dental practice located across from Vanderbilt Wilson County Hospital. They offer cosmetic procedures, dental implant services, and now featuring new digital dentures. Premium dentures in just 2 appointments. No insurance, no problem. Call about our discount plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Derek Gregory. In my office, you can count on compassionate staff who will truly listen to you, take the time to get to know you, and discuss your personal needs. I look forward to meeting you.
Gregory Dental Group, 444-0322, West Medora Parkway across from Gibbs Pharmacy.
We continue here on this Friday, and we wish you a wonderful weekend. I don't know how wonderful it's going to be on Monday morning if it's 35 degrees and a lot of frost on the tomatoes, but Gail Hibbert is with us. She is the Director of Marketing and Events for the Farm Bureau Expo Center and visits us once a month here. We kind of catch up on things we wouldn't maybe know otherwise, but you have a great staff. You're really busy. You have to field all kinds of questions and decide whether something is let's say Expo Center worthy of being there, if it fits what you're trying to do, and there are a lot of responsibility on your shoulders, honestly.
It is, and you try to be sensitive to the fact that, if somebody calls me with an event and it's really important to them, obviously, or they wouldn't be trying to book it, and it's not what I want, you have to have some common sense to be diplomatic, professional, find ways to politely not go that direction with them. And, for the most part, I don't think I've ever had anybody get upset with me over it. The biggest thing that people get upset about is when they call and say, well, I want to book an event on this day, regardless of what the event is. And I look it up and I'm like, yeah, I don't have anything that weekend or that month or whatever it is. How can you not have that? Like, they don't understand that this calendar is like a perpetual calendar. And I've opened up the calendar all the way to 2030. And so I just had somebody the other day who was like, well, I want to book an event for next year. Okay, well, let's look at the dates. So we look at the dates. Nope, I don't have anything, and especially April. Like, April is tough. It's one of those that we have a lot of events, but the revenue is small. So a lot of local events. But anyway, so look at for 24. Well, what about 25? No, I don't have that either. Well, what about 26? I don't have that either. It's like, how can you not have it that far out? And I'm like, because of all the phone calls that I got prior to this one, I mean, and you want to be sensitive, but it continues to amaze me when people call and they clearly do not understand how I cannot have a date. But that's bad and that's good. I was actually in a conversation with the Mayor Hetto the other day, and jokingly, but not so jokingly, I said, if you would just build me another main exhibit hall and attach it to what I have, yeah, I could fill it. I could totally fill it. But for right now, I have to settle for, the Made in Tennessee building and send it over there, which is fine. It all benefits the grounds. I mean, this, it benefits the county. Let's put it that way. So I'm happy to do that. I'm more than happy to help them with that. But I have sent a truckload of calls their way. I don't know if they could help them or not. I'm not included into that, but it's nice to at least have something to send them to, but the Made in Tennessee building is slightly less than half of my main exhibit hall. So it's not like apples to apples.
Yeah.
And so, when you want those big events, but like I said, was slightly kidding, but not really kidding. It was like, I really could use another one.
That kind of leads me to something else we might talk about here. I mean, obviously the Expo Center is a popular. I mean, a lot of people want it, and everybody can't get there. I mean, you can only have so many at one time, and if it's big enough, you can only have one at some times.
That's correct.
And you have to kind of figure all this out and what is in the best interest of the center to make things work, to make a profit, and to keep everybody happy, and especially, I guess, the county commissioners.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
So, but I'm just thinking here: are there some things that some tweaks that can be made? Do we need to do we need an addition, or do we need to change some configuration? Is there anything we can do to enhance what you're trying to do now to make it maybe a little bit easier to make more money?
Seriously, if I had another main exhibit hall, and especially if it was attached to what I already have, that would be amazing. I could fill it, no question. So that would be amazing. But it's funny that you mentioned, kind of tweaking things. Zendel and I have talked extensively about the idea of what would it look like if we did hourly rentals, offered that as an option. That gets into a whole nother set of logistics, and that could be more of a headache for him than it's worth. So I would have to do, again, going back to those numbers, I'd have to sit down and look at what would be possible and do it by the hour. So that's one option we've looked at. And then we've also looked at, right now we pride ourselves on always being incredibly professional and making sure that we provide a service to our event planners, because our goal is to help them make sure their event is successful within the scope of what we can affect anyway. And that's things like, you give me a copy of what the drawing of how you want the room laid out with tables and chairs, and we'll have that ready for you when you walk in the door. A lot of other venues would charge for that. So we've talked about, what would that look like? That could get logistically interesting. I'm not really sure that's where we want to go with that, but we talked about it. We don't charge for our tables and chairs either, for people to use them. We've talked about that, but that is a nightmare. We do know that.
Well, do you think you'll make some changes in those directions, or have you sort of already got your foot in the door this way and don't want to? I mean, I do know for the most part, most people don't like to be nickeled and dimed to death.
That's
the bottom
correct.
line is the big thing, and you know that a lot better than I do. But go ahead.
No, you're right. The bottom line is, and nobody wants to be nickeled and dimed. I mean, I myself have made a conscientious point to go to several conferences to represent the expo, trying to establish an awareness, which takes time. And I went to 4 of them this year, this budget year, and that was part of that purpose, and I got nickeled and dimed at 2 of them. And no, I didn't appreciate it. So no, the goal is never and never will be to nickel and dime them together. That's not who we are, and that's not the way we do business. Looking at the possibility of offering the option for hourly, what that would do is I could turn more events quickly. You want to come in for 4 hours and I got somebody else that wants to come in for 4 hours. It kind of opens up my availability. That won't work for everybody. It won't work for every day. But that also requires that we're probably going to need to bring in another staff person to help Zendel on the logistics side and turning those rooms over. We're already at the point of looking at that option because I'm looking at some of these dates and I am back to back and they literally can only be turned over at night. Well, we can't have the daytime staff turning over events at night and then turning around and being there in the morning. So, that's one of the things we're looking at. But remember, we're self-sufficient. So the money we make pays for all of our expenses, all of our maintenance, all of our salaries, and we add a person to help, we better make sure that we've got the system in place to pay the salary.
I'm just wondering, Gail, is there another venue, another facility similar to ours somewhere that you know about that maybe you compare notes or you've seen some things they've done, you've copied, or they've copied some things from us?
Yeah, I've got a couple of those. The venue in Sevierville, the convention center in Sevierville, is also municipally owned, and they have become friends. I met them through going to these conferences, so another added value of going to these conferences. And we share notes on, hey, how do you do this? Or have you ever done this? Or do you even do this? And we share notes on, we just got burned on this. FYI, you don't want to book this. And that system works. That's a network that is very powerful, very, very powerful. Yeah. So, one of us gets burned on something, or I have a folder that is a do not book list. It's not a very big list, but I do have one. Yeah. And I mean, I think everybody that does any kind of booking is going to have one because there are things that just don't work out well for whatever reason. But so yeah, we definitely, that's very important to me.
We got 2 minutes. Time's flying this morning.
It is.
What's your weekend agenda?
My weekend agenda this week is probably more along the lines. Farm Bureau is bringing in their women's leadership group. So that's an annual thing, and that's not really anything that we have much to do with. More so, that's an internal thing for them. So, but I do want to touch base on, you remember that Star Wars event that I was telling you about, yes. That ICCC? Yep. So they are going to be here in May, and we are super excited about them coming. They have rented the entire grounds. And in the expo will be the static display of the different kinds of items, the vendors, things that you can buy, and that type of stuff. So I was talking to the event planner yesterday, and he is just pumped about being out here. He loves our facility. He's impressed with the expansion to the ag grounds and everything that's going to allow. So there's going to be concerts. There's going to be professionals and the celebrities that'll be out there. So that's May 26th, 27th, and 28th. It is going to be a big weekend out on the grounds.
Around Memorial Day, isn't it?
That's correct. Now, for next year, he's moved it off of Memorial Day. I guess airline tickets for his celebrities were a little spendy for Memorial Day. But that speaks to the fact that he took what he could get to get in the door, which is what I tell them. You know, it may not be ideal, but once you're in, then it's easier for me to work you around when something comes open. And as it happened, we had a cancellation, an annual cancellation. And so I moved him up.
Success story.
Yes, right.
Well, our time's up. Gail, thanks so much. Have a great weekend. We'll
Hey,
see
you
you next
too.
month.
Sounds
Gail
good.
Hibbert, Farm Bureau Expo Center, Director of Marketing and Events. And that's it for a Friday. Have a nice weekend. Till Monday, I wish you a fantastic day.